Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's videos. We received an interesting letter from Grandmaster Hawkins about the historical context of distance learning. For those of you who don't know Grandmaster Hawkins, he and his wife, Mrs. Fran Hawkins, founded Family Karate all the way back on July 4th, 1971. And so this begins our 50th year of Family Karate, and I really hope that you'll help us do the next 50 years together. So the story is that Grandmaster Hawkins and Mrs. Hawkins were living in Texas, and they competed in enduro motorcycle racing. In fact, Mrs. Hawkins became a regional champion. But it's a sport that's really tough on the body, and Mrs. Hawkins started having back problems from that intense riding and racing. So she decided to do less demanding sport, karate. So somehow they came across Grandmaster Burleson, who was by that time a legend in Texas and national karate championships. And they both trained with him. And when Master Hawkins earned his brown belt, he began teaching with Master Burleson, and then with Master Burleson's blessing, they moved back to California, formed a martial arts school in Escondido, California, a little closet-sized school downtown. That's became the genesis of Family Karate that we have today. Then he flew back to Texas, and in that same summer tested for his black belt outdoors in a park that was 105 degrees in the shade, but as Grandmaster Hawkins says, there was no shade. So it was a really rough test, but he's since gone on to earn his Grandmastership under Grandmaster Burleson, so we're really proud of our family tree. Anyway, here's the letter that Grandmaster Hawkins sent us. In today's constricted learning environment, I would like to point out the following. In ancient times, martial arts students had to travel days to interact with their instructors. The instructors would work with the students and then assign forms and exercises for the students to practice on their own to improve their ability and performance. Often, the student would not see their instructor for many months. However, if they followed the instructor's guidance and instruction, their improvement would be dramatic. Today, we're presented with a similar situation based on a different dynamic. Because of health concerns, we are faced with a similar distance learning situation. The advantage we have now over the ancient masters is the internet. We have the opportunity and ability to train at a distance, removing the possibility of viral contamination. I admire the efforts of our schools to protect our students from possible disease exposure. I would like to advise all of our students to take full advantage of the opportunities that we have today. Remember, just like in ancient times, distance learning is only as good as a student's adherence to the suggested exercises and practices. So, thanks to Grandmaster Burleson and Master Hawkins and Mrs. Hawkins for creating this for us and for also giving us historical context on what we're doing today. Enjoy the videos and practice everything that's suggested in them. Thank you. So for our warm-ups today, we're going to take a fun exercise from Spider Fit Kids, and hope you go and look them up online. I'll send you a link as well. A little exercise that we can all do. Hopefully you'll have space in your living room that you can do it safely, or your backyard you can do it safely. But this is the way we're going to warm up. It's from different positions, getting up and going and coming back to the position. So I'll give you a couple of examples, and I'll tell you what position to get into to run. So here are a couple of examples. So one is start in push-up position, and then as quick as you can, get your feet underneath you and run as fast as you can to the mark, and then come back. Okay, so push-up position, and then a couple of ways you can do this. One is you can jump up with both feet and then start running forward. Make sure you always look where you're going. And the other one is just start from push-up position, bring one leg in front of you in a sprinting position, and then push off that leg and come through. Okay? So that's one, right? So next one, we could be on our backs in our stretch number 4 position. Just tuck one leg underneath you, push forward, and get up and go. All right? So again, Stretch number 4, get your belt high in the air. Then you'll need to come down so that you can, without putting any knees on the ground, get going forward like that, okay? So lots and lots of positions we can use. So moms and dads, be creative and run your kids through this drill. You get started in this position like this, right? Then bring one leg in front of them and get going, okay? So some of these you may need to model for them. This, here, and go really fast, okay? So they can be on their backs, it can be on their tummies, be flat on the floor, you can jump up. But moms and dads, just be as creative as you can. Kids, be as careful as you can, and make sure that you're going as quickly as you safely can do, there and back, and come back and do a new position, and go again. So a few of these will help you get warmed up, and then we'll come back and we'll do some new work for your belt today. All right, White Jackets, so if you did 12, 15, 20 of those get up and goes, you should be really, really warmed up by now and stretched out a little bit. So we're going to work again on our forms and one steps, but we're also going to first make sure that we're really, really strong on round kicking and getting the idea of this. So let's begin with the basics. So round kick is just a front kick. Now I know you guys are really good at front kick, kicking out and back and refolding, kicking out and back and refolding. So a round kick is exactly the same as front kick, just turned over flat. So round kick means we rotate flat over like this and do a front kick, okay? So turn over flat like this. So let's get the idea of kicking to the side of us. So one way we can practice this is kneel down, bring your knee up in line with your hip like this, and bring it back and then through. So hip back, right in line with your hip, and then bring your knee through and then your foot through. So again, bring your foot and your knee as far back as you can bring them, and then bring them through flat. So we call this parallel, parallel to the floor, okay? So try the other side as well. Pick up your knee, then bring it as far behind you as you can, tuck your foot tight, and then come around to the side of you, okay? So round kick is coming around from the back to the front like this, okay? So practice that. Okay, another way you can do this is to hold on to something and then point your knee the same direction as the heel of the base foot. So heel of the base foot should be pointing the direction. Grab onto your leg, pull it back away, and then open it up like this. Pull it back away and open up like this. Pull it back, open up. Okay, so practice that a few times. And we'll try the other side too. So start with your knee. It's naturally going to come in front of you, but you really want to bring it all the way back behind the line of your heel. Kick around, kick around, kick around. Okay, so now remember on round kick, there's several weapons that you can use. You can use the ball of your foot, which means that you pull your toes back, pull your ankle as far back as you can, and hit with the ball of your foot. So then the other way you can do it is with your shin. That's the part between your ankle and your knee. You don't want to really hit your foot and you don't really want to hit your knee, so you got to do in between, which is your shin. So shin means you'd be pointing your ankle. Pointing your ankle. And using the ball of foot means that you would be pulling your toes up, keeping your ankle flexed back, okay? So Zeno from our Salon Beach says, pull your toes towards your nose. Pull your toes towards your nose. So you're kicking flat and pulling back like that, okay? So that's round kick. And of course, that's in our first one step and also in our form. So let's work with mom and dad on a pool noodle or on a pillow, whatever they have, so that you can use round kick coming around from all the way behind you, refold, and then kick in the front. Round kick and step in the front. So remember, almost every kick we do in a form ends up in front of us, okay? So let's practice round kick with our family for a little while, and then we'll come back and do the forms and one steps, and we'll be able to do even better because now you'll have an awesome round kick. Thank you.
hope you worked really hard on your round kick. Remember, you can go through these as many times as you have time to do and you've got your schoolwork done today. But let's go through the forms and one steps again. So we worked a little bit on this yesterday. So this time you're going to imagine that the bad guy is coming to you from the corner. So let's start with one step number one that has that awesome round kick in it. So you're going to hug yourself underneath, move and block. Move out of the way and block, and then punch, and then round kick. Remember to keep your balance while you refold. So other side of your body, block, punch, round kick, and refold. Okay, so look where you're kicking, and the punch and the kick are on the same side of your body. So one more time. So which hand blocks? Front hand. Almost all the time our front hand blocks. Not your favorite hand, the one that's in the front after we step away. Punch and round kick. Right, other side of your body, evade, punch, and round kick. Good. So now you see I'm pulling my hands up when I kick, and that's just a habit to get into before you get to blue jacket, because we do lots of sparring and working with other people in that one. So there's one step number one. Okay, so one step number two, I know most of you know this, but this is a quick review on this. So move out of the way, same evading, and then 1, 2, 3. So middle, middle, high. Okay, other side of the body, evade, 1, 2, 3, middle, middle, high. All right, so one more, number three, we're going to make sure we step away from the person and also turn our hips away so that both our feet are pointed away from the person, heels towards the person, of course, eyes towards the person, and just make sure you're kicking right at them, refold, hammer fist. Now tomorrow we'll work a little more on side kick. It's the most difficult kick in martial arts. Not jump spinning kicks, this kick, but we want to make sure you can do it straight and strong, okay? So move, turn your back, kick straight back behind you, flat, and then hug yourself, and then hammer fist, right? So that's number 3. So we'll quickly review these one more time, including the yells. So Choon-Bi, remember we talked about this yesterday, what Choon-Bi means. So everything in martial arts has a meaning, everything in martial arts has a story, everything in martial arts has history. So that's one of the things that's so fascinating about it. So I'm glad you learned about Choon-Bi. So Choon-Bi ready position. Now step back, number 1. Remember we're going to stay in this position while our attacker, our partner, who's playing the bad guy, signals to us. So they're going to step back and low block and yell, and then step and punch. So when they do that, they step back and yell. They can have their hands up. You're going to step and yell. We wait till we're ready. Think through the one step, and then do one step number 1 after you yell. So when you yell, your partner will know it's time for them to punch near your face. Okay? So yell, then evade, punch. Make sure you've got enough space. Make sure the arms are not in the way of the other person. And then round kick. All right, so number 1. So yell at the beginning, yell on your round kick, and then come back to ready. And then it'll be your turn to be the bad guy. So we take turns on this. All right? So we need to think about who in your family is going to help you with one steps and let them practice being the bad guy for you, because later this week, or certainly by next week, we want to watch each of you on video for your new belt. Okay, so next one, number 2, remember the other person stepped back and yelled. When you're ready, when you've thought through what is number 2, where am I going to move, which side am I going to do, then have them attack, give them the signal by yelling, and then evade, 1, 2, 3. Yell on that punch, come back to ready. Okay, now it's your turn to safely be the bad guy for the other person. And then we'll do our last one. So the person yells, the person's ready to punch, but they won't come until you yell, indicating that you're ready. Yelling is just a signal between us, okay? So when you're ready for number 3, make sure you're getting far away from that punch, pushing it a little bit to the side kick straight out, and hammer fist. Yell on that one, and then of course it's your turn to be the bad guy to help your partner on their one steps, okay? So hopefully that'll give you a little bit more insight to that. But make sure we're using our very best round kicks today. And tomorrow we'll work on side kicks some more, okay? So, form, remember form, we do not step away. So we talked about this quite a bit yesterday, but today I'd like to see you do your form with your very best round kicks. So let's go through the form a little bit, and I'll try to make sure that you can see me through the whole form. So stepping forward and block, punch, same side round kick, just like the one step, but the person's always at the right place for you in the form. That's the convenient thing about the form. So you don't have to change your distance, you just step down each time. So one more time for the opening of the form. Step forward, punch, round kick, right as you land. Have another block out there for one step number 2. Punch, punch, punch. Turn, look over your shoulder. Leave your feet where they are because they're in the right position for side kick, hammer fist. Then step forward. This is the one we change on, so we're doing new side of our body. And punch, round kick. Right when we land, block. 1, 2, 3. Turn, leave your feet the way they are. Side kick, hammer fist. Have your knees bent all the time, and then come back to ready, okay? Also remember that we're yelling the same place we would yell on one step, which is the last move, okay? So wherever the last move of the one steps occurs in the form, that's where we're going to be yelling. Okay, practice this form 1,000,000 times, and I'll see you again tomorrow for more practice on forms and one steps. But in the meantime, show your mom and dad that you're ready. Show your mom and dad that you're being courteous and cooperative at home. And also remember, when you take your test, we're going to ask you a few questions. So the first thing we're going to ask you is, how have you been more courteous? How have you been more respectful? How have you been more cooperative since you've earned the current belt that you're wearing? Then the second thing we're going to ask you is about our life model for courtesy. So how did Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. show respect, show courtesy during his monumental fight against an evil system? And then thirdly, we're going to ask your mom and dad, are they happy with the work you've been doing in school? Are they happy with the homework you've been doing since you've been out of school? And then lastly, we're going to ask your mom and dad, what's the best decision they've seen you make since you earned your new belt, especially around respectfulness and thoughtfulness for others? So that's what we're going to want to see is forms and one steps, and what we're going to want to hear about is about respect and courtesy. So we've got a couple more things for you today, but I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Okay everyone, so I hope we got started on really being conscious of being more kind and more compassionate and more patient yesterday, and also got started on our pull-up challenge. So I think I'm going to be doing my 50 as well as 50 for another one of our black belt instructors who will remain unnamed, who has arm problem right now but doesn't seem to be able to remember the name of his doctor or find his way there. Anyway, so I also wanted to check in with you about how we did on No Complaints challenge yesterday. I certainly could have done a lot better, especially about the speed that YouTube was loading last night. Anyway, I'm glad those videos are finally up. So one thing I'm sure you noticed, that when we try to stop complaining, we hear how much other people are doing it. Well, let's not complain about that, otherwise we'll be feeding two monsters. So let's keep this challenge for one more day, but from a new perspective. Complaining is often about how we are victims and explaining that to other people. So monsters drool over victims. One of our black belts, Joe Garvin, says, I'm glad I have these problems and not those problems. Dr. Joe is exactly right. Our monster will shrink when he hears us stop complaining about the problems we have and start being grateful for the problems we don't have. So today, less about not complaining and more about having more gratitude. Sorry, it's that time again. Instructor jokes. As you can see, I'm wearing my green for St. Patty's Day.
So, why do people wear shamrocks on their lapels on St. Patrick's Day? Because regular rocks are too heavy. Okay, that was so bad. One more. What do you get when you cross poison ivy with a four-leaf clover? A rash of good luck. Thanks. See you tomorrow.